In the heart of ancient Japan, nestled among mist-covered mountains, lived an old samurai master named Kenjiro. His legend was whispered on the wind, a tale of a blade so swift it could slice a falling blossom in two. But age had silvered his hair and slowed his hand, and now he spent his days in quiet meditation, tending to his garden. One day a young warrior, brash and powerful, arrived at Kenjiro's serene temple. His name was Haruto, and his reputation for strength and arrogance preceded him. He had defeated countless opponents, his sword a blur of fury, his spirit an untamed fire. He sought out the old master, not for wisdom, but to claim the ultimate prize, the glory of defeating a legend old man. Haruto's voice echoed through the tranquil garden, startling a flock of sparrows. I have come to challenge you. Your time is over. I will prove that my strength is superior to your ancient techniques. He stood with his chest puffed out, hand resting on the hilt of his katana, a smirk playing on his lips. Kenjiro, who was carefully trimming a bonsai tree, didn't even look up. He finished a delicate cut before turning his calm, deep-set eyes towards the young warrior. A challenge, he said, his voice as soft as rustling leaves. The season for battle has long passed for me. The only opponent I face now is the weeds in my garden, Haruto scoffed. Are you a coward, hiding behind your age and your flowers, or do you fear the sting of defeat from a younger, stronger warrior? Kenjijin smiled, a gentle, knowing smile that seemed to infuriate Haruto even more. Strength is not just in the arm that wields the sword, young one. True strength is found in patience, in control. But I see words will not convince you. He set down his shears. Very well. I will accept your challenge, but on one condition. Name it, Haruto said eagerly, his hand tightening on his sword. We will not fight with swords, Kenjiro stated calmly. Instead, we will have a contest of endurance. You see that large water basin over there? He pointed to a heavy stone basin filled to the brim with clear cold water. You must hold this bamboo cup, he said, producing a small, simple cup, and fill it with water from the stream at the bottom of the mountain, and bring it back here to pour into the basin. The first one to make the basin overflow is the victor. Haruto burst out laughing. That's your challenge. A race for old men and children. This is absurd, but fine, I will indulge your game. I will fill that basin before you've even taken 10 steps. He snatched the cup, confident that his youth and stamina would grant him an easy victory. Kenjiro simply nodded and picked up an identical cup. And so, the contest began. Haruto, fueled by arrogance, sprinted down the winding mountain path. He was a whirlwind of motion, his powerful legs eating up the ground. He reached the stream in a fraction of the time it would take an ordinary man, plunged the cup into the rushing water, and raced back up. He was so fast, so focused on speed, that he didn't notice half the water sloshing out of the cup, splashing onto the dusty path. He reached the top, panting, and poured the meager remainder into the basin. It barely raised the water level. He looked around for Kenjiro and saw him only just beginning his descent. The old master moved with a deliberate, unhurried pace. He walked slowly, his posture perfect, his breathing even. Haruto smirked. At this rate, I'll be done by noon, he shouted, and took off down the mountain again. Trip after trip, Haruto charged up and down the mountain path. He was faster, stronger, and more athletic in every way. But with each frantic journey, he spilled more water than he carried. His clothes were soaked, his muscles began to burn, and his lungs screamed for air. The water level in the basin rose with agonizing slowness, each trip adding but a few drops. Frustration gnawed at him. Meanwhile, Kenjiro continued his steady, measured pace. When he reached the stream, he didn't just plunge the cup in. He knelt, took a deep breath, and carefully filled the cup to the brim. His return journey was just as slow and deliberate. His feet moved with precision. His arms held steady. Not a single drop was spilled. Each time he returned, he calmly poured a full cup of water into the basin. Hours passed under the hot sun. Haruto was exhausted, his body aching, his spirit crushed. His initial arrogance had evaporated, replaced by a growing sense of desperation. He was covered in mud and sweat, his movements becoming clumsy. He watched as Kenjiro, looking as serene as when he started, poured another full cup into the basin. The old master's contribution, though slow, was consistent and complete. Haruto's frantic efforts had yielded less than Kenjiro's patient, steady work. He saw the water level, now nearing the brim, and knew that Kenjiro's next trip would be the last. Defeated, Haruto dropped his cup. It clattered on the stone ground. He collapsed to his knees, head bowed, panting from exertion and shame. Kenjiro walked over and placed a gentle hand on the young warrior's shoulder. Why did you stop? The old master asked softly. I have lost, Haruto mumbled, not daring to look up. Your endurance is greater than mine. I cannot continue. Kenjiro shook his head. It is not endurance where you failed, Haruto. It is in your approach. You were so focused on the destination, on the victory, that you neglected the journey. You rushed, and in your haste, you lost what you sought to carry. Your strength was wasted by your impatience. He helped the young warrior to his feet. Speed is useless without control. Power is meaningless without discipline. A true warrior understands that the path to success is not always the fastest one. It is the one walked with intention, with focus, and with respect for the task at hand. Haruto looked at the old master. His eyes no longer filled with arrogance, but with a dawning understanding. He saw not a frail old man, but a mountain of wisdom. He saw the truth in Kenjiro's words reflected in his own failure. He had the strength of a tiger, but the patience of a gnat. From that day on, Haruto stayed at the temple. He did not challenge the master again. Instead, he became his most dedicated student. He learned to tend the garden, to trim the bonsai with the same care Kenjiro did. He learned to meditate, to still the raging storm inside his own heart. He learned that the warrior's path was not about defeating others, but about conquering the ego within oneself. And in the quiet discipline of the temple, under the guidance of the old samurai, Haruto discovered a strength he never knew he possessed, the strength of patience, the power of humility, and the true spirit of a warrior. Thank you so much for watching. We hope this story brought you a moment of reflection. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next story. See you next time.